everybody, it's Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. How are you? I am here with you this morning. Yeah, I'm recording in the morning. Sometimes I record at night, it just depends. But I'm here with you this morning to bring you this fantastic bundle, Perched in a Tree. It is just the cutest little bundle out of the January to, July to December mini catalog. And it is located, if I can find the right page in my book, there we go, on page 46 of our mini catalog. And this is the suite of products. It has a really great stamp set and some gorgeous dies. I'll show you those in a second. It's a $53 bundle, and it has the cutest stuff. So here's the dies. You get this awesome tree background that cuts out fantastic trees. You have the branch, this beautiful floral piece, cuts out your bird. Then you have these two gorgeous veined leaves. So you're going to get to see a few of those dies today. We're going to be using the branch and the bird, this beautiful floral, and then one of the leaves here. And on the inside, there's another one of the same size. See how they're veined? They're absolutely beautiful. And the stamp set that has this really cool, like, solid, like, splatter and then a dotted splatter. And we're going to be using that today. So I paired it with, this one's called Amazing Thanks Dies. And it has the words amazing, thanks, are, and you. And I love this set of dies. I use it quite often, and I just felt like the card today could use the thanks out of here. So we are going to be using that, and that's what I have put here on the front of our card. So let's go ahead and get started, and we can make this card today. Oh, I forgot. We also used the scalloped contour dies, and I use those like all the time. That's this background here, this little scalloped rectangle that the bird is perched on here, and it's this third one down from the middle, or third one from the outside. This set of dies is amazing, and I've recommended them I don't even know how many times. So please get your shapes, guys. Work on them a little at a time. And if you don't have a demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator. Just let me know that you would like to have me as your demonstrator, and I would be happy to help you. Okay, so we are going to go ahead and fold our 8.5 by 5.5 inch piece of crumb cake cardstock. We're going to fold that in half. You can score it at 4 1/4. Or if you're brave like me, you can just bend your cardstock in half like I'm doing. There's no score mark on this one. Sometimes I score them, and sometimes I forget. And there is my score mark at 4 1/4. And there's my card. I also added another layer, which is what we're going to be putting all of our bird and our flowers and everything on this layer here of crumb cake. And this is 4 by 5 1/4. So this is where we're going to place everything, and then we're going to add it here. And then on the inside, you can see I added a little bit of paper, some designer series paper, one of the leaves. So we can get started on the outside, and then we'll do the inside right before we're done. So I'm going to move the folded card out of the way for right now. And we're going to go ahead and start with our DSP. So this designer series paper is a foiled paper called Splendid Day. And see the foiling on the back end? We're not using the foiling side. We're going to use this front side. I just really loved this image here of these leaves. I just think it's so pretty. So we are going to go ahead, and these are going to be attached here, but before we do that, we're going to use the splatter stamps that I was talking about. So we have this dotted splatter, and then this is kind of like a splat. And I just think it's so cool. Isn't it so cool? I love it. And we're going to use this on our die cut scallop. So we're going to use our crumb cake, and we're going to start with that. So we're going to ink that up. Let me move my card up so that you guys can see. We're going to ink that up, and then I'm just going to stamp it right here in the center. Okay, isn't that neat? And then we are going to come with our same piece here, and I'm going to add it underneath right there and underneath right there. Okay, and then the papers are going to go there. I'm going to put them to the side for right now. We can clean this off because we're done with that. So let me grab my Simply chamois here. All right, now we're going to start with Flirty Flamingo. So I'm going to close the crumb cake. We're going to grab our Flirty Flamingo. We're going to use this dotted, and then we're going to stamp over the top. I want that kind of sticking out, and I'm going to put one on this end here and one over here. Okay, we're kind of filling that middle section up a little, and then I'm going to go ahead and close that one. Clean that off. All right. Oh, I forgot. I cleaned it off and we forgot to put it. You guys were probably yelling at me. It goes on the white scallop rectangle too. Of course, I forgot. So let's do that now. I forgot to. I got a little excited. So we're kind of putting a little bit of this over the top of our, filling that center of the rectangle. Now we're done with it. All right. Luckily, I caught myself, but it wouldn't have been the end of the world. Eventually, I would have figured it out. Okay, so we've also stamped our bird in Memento Tuxedo Black ink on a piece of basic white. I also wanted to let you know that this piece of basic white that I used for the scallop is about 2.5 inches by 4 inches. Okay. So now that we have this part stamped, we can attach these layers right here, and I want some of that splatter to show, but not all of it. So I just want it to stick out at the top a little bit, and again down here. So let me grab my silicone mat, and we're going to use some wet adhesive. So I will flip that to the foiled end. We're going to apply some of this and we'll go ahead and attach that one there. Just make sure it's on the end, and let's do this one. Add a little wet adhesive, we'll kind of wiggle that, and I just make sure I have some near the edge. My tweezers. All right, just like that. I want a little bit of that to show, so I'm gonna come down a smidge. All right. And that's right on the edge there. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to attach our floral piece in this corner. So I only really need to put the adhesive near the bottom here, and I'm just putting dots along the section here. And this is Blushing Bride is the color. The top part doesn't really need any adhesive. I mean, you can put it, but it's okay if it's free floating, but I will add a little. All right. And so we're going to go ahead and pick that up and glue that into this top kind of corner right here, like that. And we'll just press that into place. And then the leaf is going to go in the bottom corner. So I'm just going to add a little bit of wet adhesive on the back of it. And we're going to tuck that down here. Oops. My daughter's bunny hangs out in here with me. And sometimes I have his little hairs floating around. All right. So that's pretty right there. All right, so that's our base for our card, okay? Let's go ahead, this is gonna come next, but we're gonna add our little bird on there. So I'm just gonna leave it for right now, just like this. I'm just gonna move it off to the side. So we're going to work on our bird. We're gonna decorate our thanks because see how plain it is, and I'll bring this one up to the camera. You can see how this one is splattered. So anyway, it's hard for me to show you. There we go, maybe like that. And so we'll work on that and the bird at the same time. So I like to use scraps of just copy paper that I've had around. And so I've die cut the bird and the branch, and we're gonna use our Stampin' Blends to color those in. So for the branch, I used light crumb cake to color it in. And when you color with blends, it's so fast. I'm gonna do the branches. All right, and that's that. We're gonna take the dark, and all these little artist lines, we're just gonna kind of go over those with our dark crumb cake, just following those. Just like that. And then I'm just gonna go over just a couple the branches here, just to add a little more dark on those ends. All right, that's it for that. Now we're gonna use crumb cake light again for the bird, our branch's son. We're gonna do this under belly area here. So I'm gonna kind of start with my light, and I'm just gonna fill this in. Come down here. I like to outline my piece. It helps me to know where to stop, right? So we're filling in this underside of the bird. And then with the dark crumb cake, we're going to go over, like I told you, with the branch, the artist lines, and just fill in so he looks feathery, right? These little lines help him to look a little feathery. And I'm gonna come along this bottom section here and even add them there. And then the dark crumb cake, I'm gonna use those for his little feet. All right. And I'm actually gonna come along this side here and add a little bit of that right there. And I'm gonna do his beak, and then his eye right above his eye there, just a little bit of that. All right, so the next we're going to use our light Flirty Flamingo, and it is quite bright, so we're going to tone it down. I'm actually going to use the brush tip this time. We're just going to add a little pink underneath here in this section. You can see how bright it is, so we're going to add a little pink there. And to tone it down, I've used my color lifter, and so I'm going to throw that in there and kind of tone down that color a little. It lightens it slightly, and it draws some color out, so it's not quite as dark. So I'm just kind of going over it and over it in a circle, all right, which lightens that. And then I'm going to come in with my light Pool Party, and I'm going to fill in this section here of our bird. And I'm also going to come around this pink area and kind of give him a second color. And it's going to come down over here. And birds can be any color you want, right? It's your card. Whatever color you want your bird to be, that's the color. Or you can look up pictures of birds and try and make your little bird resemble some of those. And I did do that for some of the future birds in the videos and my other cards. But this one, I just wanted to have this color. So I used the light Pool Party, and now I'm going to go back with the dark. And the reason I didn't use the dark Flirty is it's already kind of dark, and I needed to lighten it more, so I didn't use the dark. But when you get your blends, they come in light and dark. And you can see I'm just going over these artist lines to kind of add those. And I'm also coming around this area here where the pink is also. And then I'm going to use my color lifter as well to kind of lighten this section and blend it like that. All right, I'm happy with the bird. Done with my blends. Let's work on our thank you while we have this out. So our thanks, we're gonna grab our Pool Party. I'm not Pool Party. Yeah, Pool Party ink, and we're gonna go that was cut out of Pool Party cardstock. And we're gonna take our Pool Party ink, and we're gonna go over the top, kind of pouncing it and adding a little bit of color, like some speckles. It kind of gives it a speckled look. And then in just certain areas, I'm just gonna brush this and get a little more intense color, but not all over it. Like that. I'll hold it up there so you guys can see. Pretty cool. All right. So that's that. So now all of our parts and pieces are colored in, and we just have to assemble the top, okay? So on our piece here, we're gonna attach our branch going across. So I'm gonna grab my silicone mat again. We're gonna add a little bit of adhesive to the branch, but not all the way across. Just kind of in this middle section. We're gonna put that down here near the bottom of the stitched piece like this, and it is going to hang off both ends. Okay, so there is our branch. Then we're going to put our little bird on there. Okay, I'm going to add him to the top and put him on that branch there where he's kind of centered, but more towards this back end, because I really want the splattered piece to show. So I think, make sure his little feet touch. There we go. All right. So there he is. He's ready to go onto our card. So I'm going to flip him over and I'm going to add some dimensionals. I definitely want in the four corners here. And then I'm going to put one in the middle. And that should be enough to support him. So I'm going to grab my Take Your Pick tool here and pull the backs off. For some reason, these new dimensionals that I've gotten, the backings are kind of like vellum, and they don't want to, they're kind of translucent. They're not like solid plastic, and I'm having a hard time getting the backs off with my Take Your Pick tool, to be honest. And I'm not exactly sure, because they slip right off because they're so light. They're not thick. And so I have to be a little bit more careful. So I usually let them go onto my mat and then I toss them in the trash. But we're going to go ahead and pull the backs off of that. We're going to put him here in the middle, or her, whatever you want to make your bird, a girl or a boy. And we're going to make sure that we're kind of overlapping both pieces and situating right there in the center. That looks pretty good. Now this we're going to go ahead and attach onto our main card, remember? So we're going to use some more dimensionals. And I'm going to actually try and get the backs off with my fingers, since they come off so easily with this light paper that's on them. I don't know if this is something new or it just, I don't really know what to say about it, but they're so light that they are hard to grab with the Take Your Pick tool. So you guys know how much I use that. So if you have this translucent-y type, see how they're kind of see-through? The Take Your Pick tool doesn't want to really get those off there. It's like the top layer or something. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but I'm almost done with this little pack. So hopefully. So now we're going to go ahead and attach this. We're going to leave a border all the way around. So as long as I get these 3 sides at the bottom here, even the rest of it should fall into place. So there it is. So there's the outside. We have to put our thank you on here. So for the thank you, I'm going to use bits and pieces of the sides of our dimensionals. So for this, I'm going to use my paper snips, and I am going to snip some skinny pieces. And I like to do 3 or 4 at a time and then stop and put them down and then do 3 or 4 more. So these are going to go behind my thank you, or my thanks. I keep calling it thank you. And it's going to help pop it up. So you can see that as I add these small thin strips onto the back, it will kind of just pop right up like that. So we're going to grab these 3. And I just like to have them on each of the letters, have a little strip so that I know that it will be nice and stuck down. So I have a small one there that needs one. So we'll go on this side here. We'll do a small one. All right, down here, this side needs one. I forgot about that A, the other side of the A. Let's do another one. And another small one here. Needs one, this N. All right, I think we're good now. That should be plenty. So save your, this is the ends that go all the way around, and you can see that I use it for these little small pieces. I have a couple over here. I should have used those and gotten rid of them, but I didn't see them till just now. But anyway, so I could use my Take Your Pick tool on these because it's the regular dimensional backs that like to stick to my Take Your Pick tool. So pull those off. Have to be careful that you have them held when you stick this on here so it doesn't tear. Grab those. Oops. Now I have the whole thanks is stuck to my fingers. Okay, there we go. And then 3 more. They're so skinny, these pieces, but they serve their purpose, right? You're able to pop up this really pretty word. And I think it looks really nice on there. I hope that you guys like it also. Drink a little bit of coffee. When I talk a lot, I get hoarse from so much talking. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and attach our thanks here. I'm kind of holding on to it delicately until I place it down. So we're going to start with our TH, so we'll let that fall into place. And then little by little, let the rest of our words fall where they may, or, you know, wherever they line up as we press down those tall letters. There we go. So there's our thanks. I think that turned out awesome. And on the inside, we have to work now. So we're gonna add just a few things on the inside. So I have a little strip of the designer series paper that I used on the outside. So it's a 1/2 inch by 4 inches of the DSP. We're gonna go ahead and glue that to the inside. I don't know if I gave you the dimensions for the outside designer series paper, but it was 1 by 3. I'll go over all of the dimensions at the end because sometimes I get excited putting our card together and then I forget to tell you. So this is a 1, the 1/2 inch by 4. We're going to put that at the bottom like that. We're going to add this really pretty leaf, and then we're going to stamp our words that say "Your kindness warms my heart." So let's go ahead and attach our leaf in this corner. So pretty. This is Pool Party. And to tie in the colors from the inside, we'll use the Flirty for the words, and then we'll use Crumb Cake for the splatter. So here's the words. It says, "Your kindness warms my heart." So I'm just gonna ink that up in Flirty Flamingo. And I'm gonna add that right here along that designer series paper. Your kindness warms my heart. And let me grab my crumb cake. We're gonna do our little splatter like that, right over the top. Isn't that pretty? And then that's the inside of our card. And then the last and final step after I clean these 2 stamps is to do our embellishments. And for the embellishments for this project, I decided to use the Fine Sparkle Adhesive Backed Gems. So let me grab those and show you what they look like. These are them, and we're going to use the pink ones that are hiding underneath this white piece. Here they are. So we're going to grab the other side of our Take Your Pick tool, and we're going to grab a couple of these guys. We're going to put one here, put a small one with it, and then let's do another big one down here near the thank you somewhere, maybe right there. I think that turned out nice. All right, we'll do the dimensions real fast for the whole piece. All right, get my silicone mat out of the way. Gotta love that silicone mat though. So we used the Perched in a Tree stamp set with the matching dies. I don't know what the dies are called. Aspen Tree dies. We used the amazing Thanks dies and the scalloped contour for that really cool shape. So let's bring that one out. So here's our cards. And let's talk about what we used. So the base for our card was 5.5 by 8.5. The top layer of crumb cake was 4 by 5.25. The basic white that I used for the rectangle was 2.5 by 4 approximately. The 2 small pieces of designer series paper were 1.25 by 3.5. The DSP for the inside was I apologize. The 2 pieces for the outside were 1 by 3, and the piece that I used to cut the thank you was 1.25 by 3.5. The inside piece of designer series paper was 1/2 inch by 4, and then I used scraps of basic white for the bird and the branch. I used scraps of Flirty for this leaf here, scraps of Blushing Bride for this flower here, and scraps of Pool Party for the leaf on the inside. And I think that takes care of all of the parts and pieces that I used today. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed definitely making this card with you. I hope that you will subscribe to my channel. I love having you here. And I hope to see you soon. This is Kelly with Inky Hands Warm Hearts. Happy stamping!